Let's take a look at where things are at the moment and what we could be seeing in the coming days. First, let's take a look at the battle map, if we could. As you can see, Kharkiv is totally surrounded here, as well as some of these other areas in the north. But I want to focus on the south. Kherson and Melitopol have both been taken over by the Russian army, totally surrounded there. And now we're also hearing that Mariupol is also surrounded. We did hear that there is a ceasefire that was offered to the Ukrainians to allow humanitarian corridors there so civilians can evacuate. But we're also hearing from Ukrainian officials in Mariupol that Russians have bombed the train routes and other infrastructure, so it's very unclear how many will leave or even where they would go. It's a big problem. You know, this country is about the size of the state of Texas. So if you're trying to get anywhere of safety, it is a long distance. So that may not actually, may not be sort of a legitimate offering to the Ukrainians. Now, the Russians have taken, as we said, Kherson and Mykolaiv. What to watch for next is a westward thrust over to Odessa. Odessa is the country's third largest city, and it's its main port on the Black Sea. That assault may be a two-front approach on the ground from the east, but also from the Black Sea with the help of the Russian Navy. Let's take a look at some of the other big strategic moves that the Russians have done and are doing. As you know, if we take a look at the location of these nuclear plants, we know that Russia now controls the largest nuclear facility in Europe, the Zaporizhzhia power plant. We're also now hearing that they are only about 20 miles away from this other major power station. Now, that's important. Controlling electricity and essential services is critical to controlling the country. These large nuclear plants also provide the Russians with positions that once they control, it will be very difficult to eject them from due to the high risks associated with conducting military operations around these plants. The UN Security Council met yesterday about Russia's efforts to take control of these nuclear sites. Now, Putin and the Russian army also today being accused of war crimes for a variety of reasons, especially the targeting of civilians as they step up the shelling of Ukraine's major cities. And you can see these are all areas that Amnesty International and the UN are looking at possible war crimes being committed in these areas. Now, as the war intensifies and supplies are strained, we're also seeing the humanitarian crisis explode. Now more than 1.2 million people have estimated to have fled, some 649,000 to Poland, another 103,000 to Moldova, 144,000 to Hungary. This morning at around 9:30 Eastern Time, President Zelensky will be addressing the United States Senate, presumably to ask for additional and immediate support for his people. This after NATO reiterated it would not enforce a no-fly zone over the country. So, Carl and Allison, Russia continues to take big chunks out of the country of Ukraine, and the Ukrainian resistance is clearly starting to, you can see it here, buckle under the weight of the Russian advance. We are going to continue to follow all of this here at Newsmax throughout the course of the day.
All right. Thanks so much, Tom. Well, thousands of Ukrainians running for their lives in two areas of Ukraine after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a temporary ceasefire. For the latest, let's head to Newsmax correspondent Sarah Williamson, who is live on the ground in Kyiv. Sarah, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Alison. At 9 a.m. this morning, that apparent ceasefire you're speaking of in the strategic southeastern port of Mariupol and in the eastern city of Volonica was meant to be in place. But a spokesperson for the mayor of Mariupol confirmed to a member of our team this morning via the phone that the Russian troops are violating this ceasefire and the civilian evacuations there have actually now been suspended. Now, the situation is so dire there that in both of these cities, they've largely been cut off to water, heat and electricity there on the ground, and these for long periods of time due to the ongoing fighting, that the evacuating these civilians is a matter of urgency now. And the corridors, they were meant to be set up between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. today, and it is now after 2 p.m. local time, and they're not only meant to evacuate the civilians, but also deliver food and medicine to those who can't escape during this first time. Now, that is because Mariupol is a city of 440,000 civilians, and Volnovka is a city of 21,000. So the chance of evacuating everyone today in that space is slim. But now, despite Russia declaring a ceasefire and the Defense Ministry actually putting out a video statement declaring this, there is absolutely no way. And the reality on the ground, that what we're hearing is that this is just not the case at all, Alison.
Sarah, quick follow-up for you. What is the morale of people? Because we're now going into the second week of this. Some people are still there. Some people can't escape. What are people saying to you?
The majority of the civilians here are trying to escape, Alison, and they're absolutely terrified. People in the major cities like Kyiv, where we are now, and these cities that are under major attack are just trying to flee, and they're trying to get out. That's why we're seeing such a huge humanitarian and refugee crisis. But if you ask the troops, that the people who have joined the territorial defence and the military here, the morale is still quite high, and the people here are so patriotic and they have so much faith in the Ukrainian forces that they still really believe in their forces and believe that they can still get this job done. So that is inspiring to see. But the civilians on the ground here genuinely are terrified, because this is something that they just don't expect. They're not like the people on the east who have been suffering this for so many years now. For 8 years, they've been under this constant shelling. But the majority of the people here are terrified for their lives. And we've seen them firsthand in tears overnight, just crying, wanting to not coping with the air raid sirens, not coping with the sounds of the explosions, and not coping with the sounds of gunfire that we can hear from our hotel rooms just going on in the streets.
Can't even
serious
imagine.
problems. All right, Sarah, stay safe over there. We appreciate it.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.